What's up? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another rendition of All We Do Is Talk. We're here for our predictions for Week 3. I'm here with Moody and Isaiah. What's going on, boys?
Hard to believe it's already Week 3. The season is rolling.
Yes, sir.
So interesting week. Not a lot of great matchups, but football nonetheless. So we'll take it. So let's start off with Thursday night. We got my Carolina Panthers taking a visit to Houston to face the Texans. Spread is -8. Over-under is 43.
So we got a nice AFC South versus NFC South battle right here between two quarterbacks that don't really get you that excited. It's Thursday night football. You know, that's the best thing I can say about this game. It's Thursday night football. The Panthers have looked awesome in the first couple of weeks, albeit against the Jets. And, well, we'll see what the Saints look like. The Saints have shown both sides of their ceiling and their floor. But the Panthers have shown have had the best defense in the league so far. Their front four has been incredible with Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns and Derek Brown. They got a whole bunch of talent up there up front. Their secondary is fast with Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn. They all look really, really good. Phil Snow, the D coordinator, has been scheming it up really well for them in order to create pressure. They've dominated on the trenches up front. And Sam Darnold's been official on the offensive end. Christian McCaffrey looks fully back, which has been huge. They have as good a skill position as a lot of teams in the NFL right now. Sam Darnold looks as comfortable as he's ever been. And Panthers look like they could be a nice surprise. We'll see what happens when the schedule gets harder, though.
Houston, looking at Houston, they've stayed in all their games this year. They haven't embarrassed themselves. They've got the Deshaun Watson situation hovering over their organization still. So let's just go ahead and pick it. I mean, I'm gonna pick Carolina to cover. Maybe I'll take Carolina by 10. So over under is 43.5. So yeah, I'll take Carolina 28, Houston 17. Yeah, Carolina 28, Houston 17.
So you take the over?
Yeah, I'll take the over.
All right, I'll go next. I'll definitely take Carolina to cover, but I'm going to take the under. I think Houston's defense has at least shown some ability to slow people down, and Carolina's defense is really, really good. I don't expect Davis Mills to have more than 7 to 10 points in this game, honestly. That's what I think Carolina's going to completely shut them down, and if it'll take Carolina scoring 33 points for them to hit this over, in my opinion. So I'll take Carolina to cover, but I'll take the under.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Carolina, obviously, but they'll need to do damage in this first half of the schedule for them because it definitely gets tougher on the back half. Like their last 4 games go at Bills, Tampa Bay, at Saints, at Tampa Bay. So they definitely need to bang out some of these wins at the beginning. So I'll take them to cover, and I'll take the over as well. So,
all right, we'll move on next.
We got Arizona headed over to the home of AEW, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Arizona favored by 7.5, coming off a lucky Week 2 win, a dominant Week 1 win, and a lucky Week 2 win, going against Jacksonville, who's got 2 sad Week 1 and Week 2 wins and losses to show for their season. Jacksonville, like we said in our Week 2 review, is pretty bad in the trenches, pretty bad on defense, pretty bad on offense,
pretty bad in the coaching staff.
I don't know how much better Cliff Kingsbury is than Urban Meyer, but he's definitely better because he's just been doing it longer. So anything else you want to say about this game? Any big matchups y'all looking forward to?
I mean, obviously, getting to watch Trevor Lawrence to go out there. They're going to be at home. Is this Trevor Lawrence's first home game in Jacksonville?
No, they were at Jacksonville against Denver.
Oh, okay, well, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
It's just another opportunity to see 2 first overall picks going head-to-head against each other. That's probably the biggest highlight of this contest. They have a huge over-under, though, at 51.5. I was surprised at how high that was considering what Jacksonville's offenses look like. But, I mean, 2 teams with young talent that we're excited to watch. Best thing you can call it.
I'm going to take Arizona to win 35-20. So I have them covering, and I have the over.
for someone who was just giving the thumbs down on the over/under.
Yeah, that was a switch up.
Yeah, and then I thought about it. I think this is going to be another one of those Kyler Murray 5-touchdown games. So 35 for Arizona at the bare minimum. Jacksonville gets a couple garbage time touchdowns or scores early. But I think 35-20. That sounds about right. It's a mismatch in my opinion. Still, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. I'll take Arizona to cover, and I'll take the over too. I pretty much agree with Isaiah about they'll probably be Jacksonville scoring some garbage time to hit the over just barely.
I think Detroit at Green Bay.
I expect Arizona to get up early with the ferocious pass rush and Kyler Murray dazzling on their defense. That's going to have no chance in hell. And then Trevor Lawrence will continue to struggle with Chandler Jones smacking them upside the head every play. So yeah, Arizona by a lot.
I will take Arizona as well, but I will also take the under.
Okay, so you're going with the under. You're the only one going with the under. Okay. It's going to be a sloppy game for Jacksonville for sure.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to what should be the showcase game of the 1 o'clock window. If certain players play, we've got the Indianapolis Colts taking a trip to Nashville, Tennessee, to face their division rivals, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are favored by 5.5. No word to this point. Today's Wednesday on Carson Wentz's status, but I doubt he will play.
I think we should go with this, assuming he won't play.
I'm already, that's what I believe. Eric, how you feel about that?
Honestly, we'll keep the decision out of the way.
I mean, obviously Jacob Easton is not who you want at quarterback, but then again, you don't really want Carson Wentz.
You definitely want him over Jacob Easton staring down Jalen Ramsey on back-to-back plays. So 5.5 for Tennessee. I mean, I guess Colts O-line needs to start stepping up. They need to get back on that grind and start blocking people up front because they haven't been opening holes and they haven't been protecting the passer, particularly that left tackle spot. We'll see how Eric Fisher does coming off his injury. Tennessee looks like they've regained form on offense, but still need to get that passing offense going. Looking for Julio and A.J. Brown to finally step up and have that big game together that we've been waiting to see them have. Anything else? Any other keys you guys thinking about?
I mean, the Colts defense was supposed to be the strength of this team, and they've looked like the weakness. They've looked like the thing keeping the Colts from being able to win football games, and that's worrisome. With the way King Henry looked like when he came back and roaring after a struggle week 1 and a struggle for basically the first 3 quarters against Seattle, he came roaring back, and he looks like himself again. And if he looks like himself, Ryan Tannehill and those receivers are going to start looking like themselves, and that spells big issues for Indianapolis on the road. I think Tennessee's going to take care of business here.
So I'll take Tennessee to cover and over under 48.5. What does this scream? 31-27, 31-24.
Oh, you expect it to be that close? 31-27 is a Colts cover.
I think the Colts will run the ball pretty well on Tennessee's defense. Tennessee's defense is still pretty pathetic and on run wise. They picked it up passing defense wise, but I'll take the over. I'll take Tennessee to cover the over. How about you, Eric? How you feel about this game?
I'll take Tennessee as well. Minus what? 5.5?
Yeah.
And I'll take the over as well. I think that's gonna be a pretty easy over.
All right, that's the clean sweep here for me. Tennessee and the over.
Anything else to say about that?
Hopefully, Tyler Lewan is better.
So next game up, Baltimore at the Detroit Lions. In another 1 o'clock big spread, 49.5 is the over/under. Baltimore coming off of their best win in a few years, upsetting Kansas City at home, and Detroit Monday Night Football lost at Lambeau Field for like the 25th out of 26 year.
So Detroit is probably the worst team in the NFL.
They haven't looked like the worst team in the NFL. Like, they've at least shown
they're in the running.
For 6 quarters, they've been competitive.
So I'll say if I pick the worst teams, it'd be Jacksonville, the Jets, and the Detroit Lions. So they're in the running.
That's probably fair.
They're in the running. And Baltimore is a team that's got playoff pedigree. And even if they're hurt, they're still going to have playoff pedigree. They're coming off. Now, they might come out slow because of all the energy used in the last game.
But come on, how often does Baltimore lose to bad teams?
Oh, they're not going to lose. I said they might come out slow. I said they might come out slow. And they might look like they about to play with their food, but they will definitely – Lamar Jackson will be too much for that defense in Detroit, who have played some of the hardest offenses to start. So that's tough for the kneecap biters. But take Baltimore to cover, and I will take the over because I expect garbage time. Scorer, I guess I'll pick 31-20 Baltimore. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I definitely expect Detroit to have at least a little bit of success on offense, being able to move the ball. They've been really good with their scripts, and Baltimore's defense isn't a juggernaut. It's good, but it's not a juggernaut. Detroit will also be at home, which will be a bump for them, but it won't matter in terms of the score. Baltimore's going to win this game comfortably. However the score ends up being, it doesn't matter. They'll cover. They'll win by more than a touchdown and a half. Over under, I'll take the over because I do expect a lot of points in this game.
Yeah, I think this is another clean sweep. I was debating the Lions because I think they can backdoor cover this thing.
They finally got a respectable line. This is the most respectable line they've had all season, which is so much disrespect to Baltimore.
But yeah, I'll take Baltimore, whatever the spread is, and the over.
Whatever the spread is. That sounds like Detroit being talked about. All right, on to another interesting matchup. We've got the Washington football team packing their hefty defensive line and bringing it to Buffalo to face the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen coming off their shutout dominant performance of the Miami Dolphins. So how do we feel about this game?
Taylor Heineke get his I don't know if it's not his first start, but his opportunity to come out here and continue to show that he could be the guy for the Washington football team moving forward. That's going to be exciting to see. The Washington football team defensive matchup against Josh Allen, that'll be exciting to see. Washington football team's defense has not played up to expectations in the first couple of games, but neither has Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills. So that'll be interesting to see who is able, as we enter the dog days of the season, as the season really gets going, who starts picking it up and who starts falling behind. The over-under is 45.5. That's probably sounds about right. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair because I trust both of these defenses to be pretty good.
I could see a scenario where it gets out of hand and maybe some garbage blowout points or garbage time.
Buffalo's defense, I could easily see Buffalo doing to Taylor Heineke what they just did to Tua and Jacoby Brissett. Like, they just can't score. Okay. So that'd be the reason I take.
They don't even destroy them on offense and they still win by a lot. Come on, Washington can't have that. This is a bad matchup for Washington. Is the thing that I'm catching that this is the new year of the extra game against the random AFC team, and they won the division, and so they get the Buffalo Bills. At least it wasn't the prime Patriots, so at least they're a year late to that. But it's a big mismatch. I'll be looking to see if Josh Allen regains that elite dominant form he's been showing from the previous season, but he's got the connection with Stephon Diggs getting back into it. Not much from Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders to start, but that's expected. They're older players who take a little bit longer without playing as much preseason to get going. But how do you feel about this game, Eric?
If it was Fitzpatrick in this game, I would take Washington, no hesitation. But Taylor Heineke, first true road start, so I think he's going to struggle a little bit. So I think I'll clearly take the Bills minus 7.5, and I'll take the under because I don't think the Washington will struggle to score.
How you feel that, Moody?
I like what Eric's saying. I don't expect Taylor Heineke to have a lot of success against that Bills defense. I think they'll be able to get after him with those young pass rushers, and the Bills secondary is still very, very good.
I expect Micah Hyde interception.
I mean, that's always an easy one to call. And then as far as Buffalo, but I also expect Washington football team's defense to at least, we'll see. They haven't played that well so far, but if the Washington football team plays up to expectations, they could cause Josh Allen the Bills problems as well. So I'll take Buffalo to cover. They'll win by 10 points, but it'll be the under.
Yeah, that's my score. I've got Buffalo 27, Washington football team 17.
That's fine.
Is that the under?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I'll take the under too. All right, next game.
We got an interesting one. We got the New Orleans Saints and famous Jameis Winston coming off of a disappointing performance at Carolina last week.
To say the least.
Going on the road at New England, at Gillette Stadium to take on mac and cheese. That's what Cam Newton calls him. Mac Jones.
Cam Newton calls him nothing.
Cam Newton calls him nothing.
He called the kid that took his job.
And the hoodie, Bill Belichick. The Patriots are just a 3-point favorite at home. Over under one of the lowest of the week at 41.5. What y'all think?
Oh, I don't really know. I mean, two of the top 5 head coaches in the NFL probably.
Agreed.
And I think Bill Belichick's probably going to put on a show in this game. He'll probably have the weather machine ready to go with some rain. The over-under is weird because I'll take the over. I'm going to say it right now. I want to take the over. And I think this is going to be an easy cover for New England. I think New England wins this going away, really. I'll take New England 21, Saints 10. I'll take the under. That's the type of game I think we're about to see here.
Eric, what are your thoughts on Jameis Winston versus Mac Jones?
I mean, I agree with Isaiah on all of that. I think the Patriots are at home. If this was in New Orleans, I think it would be different for me, and I think the line would be different. But I'll lay the 3 points with the Patriots. Yeah, that's such a low under. I'll take the over on that under. It's so low.
Man, so are we all concerned about the Saints after that performance last week? Yes. Because I think over 2 games, the Saints have probably still been the more impressive football team.
Well, the Patriots are pretty impressive last week.
I guess the Jets. I mean, that's not as impressive as what Jameis did to the Packers. I don't know. I think I expect this to be a close football game. I'll take the Saints to cover. That doesn't necessarily mean the Saints will win the game, but I expect the Saints to cover. I think this will be a game that comes right down to the wire because I expect both of these defenses to hold each other down all game long. I'm sure in New England there'll be some weather situation going on because that's usually how it's going up there. We'll see how the Saints injury report looks. Hopefully they can get some COVID guys back. Lattimore and some guys back on that defense to help improve after a disappointing performance last week against Carolina. But I think with these 2 coaches and these 2 defenses, this is going to be a slug, drag them out, knock them down type of game. So I'll take New Orleans to cover +3, and I'll take the under as well. I think these are really good defenses that won't allow these quarterbacks a lot of room for error.
All right, and now the main event of the 1 o'clock hour. We've got Justin Herbert taking his golden blonde hair to Kansas City and his team, the LA Chargers, to visit a division rival, Patrick Mahomes and his guys, the Chiefs, both coming off disappointing losses in tough games last week, where both quarterbacks kind of cost the team the game with some bad decisions down the stretch. But what we think, is this by far the best game of the Sunday?
I mean, of course. I mean, of the Sunday.
Of the Sunday?
If we look, there's one at the 4 o'clock games that we'll get to later that looks pretty enticing as well. But definitely for the AFC, it's definitely the crowning game for the AFC this week. Justin Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes. Basically, Patrick Mahomes versus Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's going to be so much fun to watch. Both of these quarterbacks are going to put on ridiculous performances. You can expect all the no-look, scramble, 30-yard across the field. It's going to be a highlight show. This is going to be 8 of the top 10 plays on SportsCenter. I can't wait. This is going to be really, really fun.
I'm just going ahead and say, I'm going to take the Chargers to cover. I would say, watch out. This could be a sneak. I have the Chargers winning the division, so I would need to get behind you saying that take the money line because I do think the Chargers are going to have to steal a game like this if they have the intentions to beat the Chiefs. I also think the Chiefs look weak. Their defense looks weak, and that's going to be perfect for the Chargers to bounce back after playing a very good defensive game plan for the Dallas Cowboys, surprisingly. So I'll take the Chiefs to cover, and I'll take 55 and a half. I'll take the Chargers to cover, and I'll take 55 and a half. That's high. That's high. But the only way you're beating the Chiefs is by scoring more points, and they're going to score points. So I got to take the over.
Yeah, I 100% agree with the over part, but I think the Chiefs will cover here. I expect Mahomes is not coming out here to.
They haven't covered all season. I will say that.
That's fair, and they've had a run of really good football teams, and the Chargers are no different. Although I think the Chargers are a step down from the Browns and the Ravens in terms of overall talent and team chemistry. As far as that goes, they have the same coaches and same teams 2 years in a row. But I think the Chiefs will come out with a little bit of a vengeance, a little bit of a more focused performance, especially in the fourth quarter. But it'll be a touchdown type of game, and when Patrick Mahomes plays, there's always the potential for him to win by 7. So I'll take the Chiefs to cover, and I'll take the over. I think this is going to be both teams in the 30s coming down to the fourth quarter.
What's the spread again?
6.5.
I will take the Chargers to cover, and I will take the over as well. Yeah.
That's all you gotta say about that.
I mean,
it's a pretty easy.
Enjoy. Just say enjoy.
It's gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. Can't wait to see it.
That's a great, especially to hide some of these other 1 o'clock games we're about to get to. So I want to move on to the next one. Which one you got?
I got actually this game got intrigue. Justin Fields' first career start, the moment we've all been waiting for, going on the road to Ohio to face the Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield. That's has some intrigue, right?
Have you seen the Chicago Bears?
I've seen them play with Andy Dalton. I want to.
They played last week without him for most of the game,
and they won the football game
because Joe Burrow was god awful. But I'm excited to see Justin Fields, and that's it. Nothing. That Chicago defense is putrid, so they're gonna get ran on, which means they'll probably get down.
It's like they looked pretty decent against the run last week. Against they shut down Joe Mixon, only 20 carries for 69 yards. Their run defense looks.
Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals turned the ball in 4 consecutive possessions. Every run game is over by then. That's an anomaly game they played last week. That defense is still pretty bad, and when it was time to put points up, Cincinnati did it. So I think Cleveland wins going away. So I think they'll cover. I think Justin Fields will have a good showing unless Matt Nagy is this terrible coach that we all seem to think that he might be. I definitely do. I think Justin Fields has a good game. His running will bring a dynamic that will surprise Cleveland because their defense isn't that good. So he single-handedly will keep the game competitive long enough. But I think Cleveland wins probably I can see him winning by 10. A lot of these games are going to be probably going to be uncompetitive. I hope I'm wrong, really. But I'll take Cleveland to win. Going away practically, so I go 31-21. Good showing for Justin Herbert. Puts up 3 touchdowns. He'll probably put up 3 touchdowns for the Bears alone. Probably better than what Andy Dalton. Definitely better than what Andy Dalton was going to do. So yeah, I'll take the over and I'll take Cleveland to cover.
I agree with your take, which is why I'll go with the Bears plus 7.5. Does not mean the Bears are going to win the game. They just won't get blown out, is what I'm saying. I think Justin Fields is going to have a really, really good showing against a Browns defense that does not look great, especially against quarterbacks with mobility. They play Patrick Mahomes, they play Tyrod Taylor, and those guys' ability to make plays outside the pocket, make plays with their legs, gave Cleveland a ton of problems, and I expect that to continue this week against a quarterback they aren't going to be able to game plan for because we haven't seen them really perform at this level. So I'll take Chicago to stay competitively in it. I think with the injuries at receiver for Cleveland, that'll help mitigate Chicago's secondary issues, and hopefully they can stuff up the run and give themselves a chance to win this football game. So I'll take Chicago plus 7.5, and I'll take the under. Just with the way these two teams are going to be running the ball, I expect the clock to be moving pretty quickly.
I will take the Browns to win. I think their defense will get on track this week, facing a rookie quarterback in his first start. I'll take the over as well. I think Justin Fields will put up enough points to hit this over, but I think the Browns win by 10, 14 points.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game just to see Justin Fields alone. See if he'll probably get to join the party of the rookie quarterback,
and it hasn't been fun for them.
Next, we have another division rivalry game. We have Cincinnati Bengals looking to recover after that awful loss last week to the Chicago Bears, where they practically threw up on themselves for 30 minutes of the game. And then they're going to take their team over to Pittsburgh, where they threw up on themselves for about 30 minutes in the game. So Pittsburgh's home. They've been slumping. Cincinnati is up and down young. How you feel about this game? 3-point favorite for Pittsburgh.
I'm surprised. The thing about this game is we have no idea who's going to play. Ben Roethlisberger got this pec thing that they're saying they're gonna try. That's all you keep hearing, because they're gonna do everything they can to get him on the field, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna get out there. Deontay Johnson, Mike Tomlin said he looks better, but that's not to be confused with great. That doesn't give you a whole lot of confidence. TJ Watt's got the groin thing going on. We'll see if he plays. So like a lot of injury issues for Pittsburgh. I'm actually a little bit surprised they still get to be -3. I guess we're waiting on the injury confirmation to see what happens with this line. We don't expect this game to be very pretty. Obviously, it's AFC North slugfest. It's going to be another Bengals Steelers mudfest attack. You know what that is. I actually think I like Cincinnati on Sunday.
Oh, I just did my final prediction. I will take Cincinnati to win 24-20. They would win by more if they were more consistent, but they will make some type of bad decision. They'll keep.
I expect the Pittsburgh defense and special teams to keep them alive. Definitely.
And that's the over. So the over is a little light because I think these teams have a lot of explosive playmakers on their teams, offensively and defensively. So I'll take the over by a hair, but I'll take Cincinnati to cover, and I'll take the over.
I'll take Cincinnati +3, and it's a low over/under. But if Ben Roethlisberger's arm is really shot or he doesn't play, but TJ Watt does, I could see this being a low-scoring kind of defensive struggle. I'll take the under.
Yeah, man, the injuries to the Steelers is really what's getting me.
Yeah, it's concerning.
Because if all those guys play, I would take the Steelers. But as of right now, you know what? I'm going to take the Steelers. All three of us took the Bengals last week, and it bit all of us in the ass. I'm taking the Steelers -3. I'll take the over as well. I like taking overs on low numbers because it only takes a few plays to get you to hit that mark. So, yeah, I'll take the Steelers and the over.
All right, we can move on to the last game on the 1 o'clock slate. We got the Dirty Birds of the Atlanta Falcons headed up to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Football Giants. We'll just go ahead and let our resident Giants fan take it away with his preview for this one.
Loser season is over. Whoever loses this game, start thinking about the draft. Unless the Giants lose, because I think they have more hope. They have more leeway because of the division they play in. Atlanta, they're
already out of the division race. That division is already no chance.
They play Tampa Bay already. I think the Giants. I think as you see with the over/under, everybody. Atlanta's got probably has the worst defense in the league, but Seattle's got a bad one. I don't think the Cowboys is all the way out of the work. So saying they're a great defense yet. Tennessee's got a bad defense. There's some bad defenses.
NFL defenses are not great.
There's some bad NFL defenses, but Atlanta might just have the worst. And they went toe for toe with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week, but they really weren't in the game. They were in the game, but without being in the game. Really, they've got Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, and their defensive tackle, Grady Jarrett,
who's been struggling because the talent around him is just so diminished at this point.
That's about it. And they got a couple of good interior offensive linemen. But really, I'm pretty sure the Atlanta Falcons they're in the Detroit Lions tier of teams. So I'm going to take the Giants to cover. I'm going to predict the score. I think the Giants win going away. It's Eli Manning's retirement jersey retirement ceremony game. So I think they'll win going away, will only take 7 points. So I'll take the Giants to win 27-20, which is actually under, which I don't think Atlanta or the Giants have an offense that I can bank on to go over. So especially when I'm thinking that's going to be the score 20-27. So I'll take Giants to cover and I'll take the under.
The best advice I can give on this one is to fade. Don't touch this at all. Don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Why would you want to be around any of this? I don't know what to make heads or tails of these two teams. I just know neither of them are really that good. Atlanta is just a field goal underdog on the road, which means Vegas thinks these teams are basically 50-50 at this point. And that's what I think of these two teams at this point. I think Atlanta's offense is good enough to keep them in the game. They got some talent at the receiver position. But I also think Daniel Jones is going to be able to do whatever he wants on the Falcons defense, running and throwing the ball, because I don't expect them to be able to contain anybody. It's going to be really unfortunate to watch. For anybody who doesn't live in New York or Atlanta, It'll be unfortunate for them. I'll take the Falcons +3. I think this will be a really competitive game that'll come down to the end because two bad teams keeping each other in the game. I'll also take the over. I do expect you took the under. I will take the over. I expect the scoring to pick up a little bit in this game from the Giants defense. While expected to be really good, has not shown that ability to be really good yet. And they also struggle at rushing on the edge. So I think that'll give Matt Ryan the time he needs to be able to find plays down the field. Just don't throw back-to-back pick sixes. And maybe they can be more competitive this week. I expect this game to come down to who makes the last mistake in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, I'll take the Falcons +3, and I'll take the over.
Yeah, this game is brutal. Don't put your money on this game.
At all.
But in a game like this, give me the points. I'd rather have points than need points. So I will take the Falcons +3 as well. I'll take the over as well because I think the matchup is just right. The bad offense has the bad defense, and the Falcons, if they're on, they have enough weapons to where they can keep up. So and the Giants defense is not locked down or anything. So I'll take the over and the Falcons.
All right, let's just move on to the 4 o'clocks. We can leave that game where
that game's gonna be good. It's gonna be explosive. Who y'all want to start with?
The first one I got up here is the just in the season Jets on the road to take on the Denver Broncos in a third straight seemingly cakewalk for the 10.5-point favorite Denver Broncos. What y'all think about this?
Hey, they fought hard in that Giants game. It was week 1. And then Jacksonville. I mean, what a nice schedule. I mean, they got out of the Giants game because the Giants just didn't show up. So that makes it even look easier because then you get to face probably the 2 worst teams in the league. I don't know how good Denver is, but I expect Zach Wilson to have another bad game. I expect Denver to cover. I expect him to do whatever they want to the Jets defense. I expect Zach Wilson to be harassed all day, even though Chubb is out. They still have Shelby Harris. They still have Von Miller. Do they have Shelby Harris, or is he in Atlanta? I might be wrong about Shelby Harris, but they still got Von Miller. They still got a good secondary that will give Zach Wilson problems like New England did last week. I'll take the Jets. I'll take the Denver Broncos to cover, and I'll take the over because I think the final score will be something like 35 to 20, 35 to 17. A lot of Green Bay, Detroit Lions matchups from Monday night. I think we'll see on Sunday.
I basically agree. I think Denver's got the defense the perfect defense with Vic Fangio pulling the strings in that secondary to cause more turnover issues for Zach Wilson, who you told me earlier today is dealing with some injury issues of his own. His offensive line's beat up. Denver's going to be able to get pressure on them. Denver's going to be able to man up Corey Davis and those receivers and blanket them all day long. Zach Wilson's not going to have anywhere to go with the football. I expect it to be another struggle. Now, the Jets defense has looked decent. Like, it has looked competitive. So I'm not going to sit here and think Teddy Bridgewater's just going to be able to go up and down the field in these guys. But Teddy Bridgewater has looked very efficient with the football. But at the end of the day, the Jets just aren't very good. So I think the Broncos will be able to cover. So I'll take the Broncos to cover just because I don't think the Jets will be able to score that many points. That's why I will also take the under, even with a 10.5-point spread, because I think Denver will get up and just bleed the clock away.
Yeah, I'm exactly with Moody. I think it will be tough for the Jets to even score points on this Broncos defense. Zach Wilson will have another rough day, I think. So I'll take the Broncos and the under.
All right, and now we can get into.
All right, so we've got the Fitzmagic rematch game. We've got the Miami Dolphins returning to the scene of the crime in Las Vegas, back-to-back years where they have to travel to Vegas. We got word today that Tua Tagovailoa will be out. So we don't. Unlike we still wondering about Carson Wentz. Tua's out. Sorry to hear that he's out. Hopefully he gets better and gets back, but it's Tua. And Vegas, we actually heard some questions that Derek Carr might have a high ankle.
He was a full participant in practice today.
I think he'll be fine because he clearly came back and played through the game, but that sucks for him too. No Fitzpatrick to save Miami this time. They've got Jacoby Brissett. So
Brissett's solid.
You see him last week?
The man wasn't even getting. He just had to jump into a game like that against Buffalo, who was clearly just here to put it on Miami. I think you'll see a better showing from Brissett this week with a full week of first team reps.
Not so much better where I don't take Vegas to cover, and I will say trap game alert for Vegas. They could be sleeping on Miami on how good they are in the secondary.
I think that's more because you don't trust Vegas than you.
Trap game. This has letdown written all over. Coming off 2 big wins. You feel like you're getting lucky because you're playing a backup quarterback. So I could see Miami winning this game, but I'm going to take Vegas to cover. I'll take a respectable score. I'll take Vegas to win a nail biter, 27-24, win by 3.
So you take Miami to cover?
Ooh, I'm going to say 27-23. My bad. 27-23.
So you want to push?
No, it's 3.5.
It's 3.5.
Oh, okay. I see 4 on my thing. Okay.
Oh, okay. What you on? We're on FanDuel.
I'm just on Bleacher Report.
Oh, you're good. So I'll take Vegas to cover a 3.5 spread, 27-23. Miami gives them a scare because Xavier Howard will get his hands on the ball. Maybe Byron Jones takes one of those receivers out, or maybe even takes Darren Waller out of the game. And they show them they put up a defensive fight, but Vegas is hot. They've got the better quarterback and the better offensive scheme.
I'll actually take Miami to cover the 3.5. Now, I still think the Raiders will win the game. I actually do like your score of 27-24. I think that your original score. I do think Jacoby Brissett with a full week of first team reps with Will Fuller coming back this week. I think they'll be able to find a way to at least move the ball a little bit on a Vegas defense that isn't very good, although Max Crosby is probably going to be in the backfield all day long. But there is some gains to be made in the Vegas secondary. And I expect the Miami defense to cause problems for Derek Carr. That Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, that is a tough secondary to throw against. And the Raiders have really been a one-dimensional team these past couple of weeks. Now, granted, Miami isn't very good against the run, but we don't expect Josh Jacobs to play again this week. So that'll hurt the Raiders' ability to run the football. If the Raiders have to throw the ball, that's a Miami chance to stay in the game, and I think it'll give Miami a shot at the end. But Derek Carr, who's been clutching the fourth quarter the last 2 years, will pull one out the end for the Vegas Raiders to keep their undefeated season alive. I'll take the over as well. Miami plus 3.5.
Yeah, this was going to be my lock, but now that I'm looking at other games, this is now my 2 is Raiders. Without Josh Jacobs, I mean, I think they'll have questions running the ball. I know they have Kenyon Drake, but you'd rather have Josh Jacobs back there being the toe to the rock. But I'll still take the Raiders -4. I'll take the over as well. What is it, 45.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the over. I think Darren Waller will have a big game.
All right, so the second to last 425 game that we're going to go over is Seattle Seahawks going to face a familiar rival. They've got a nice little rivalry going the last few years. The Minnesota Vikings, dating back all the way to the infamous
The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. So we got Russell Wilson taking his Seattle Seahawks to Minnesota this time. Last year, I believe it was the other way around. Minnesota went to Seattle. Mm-hmm. And the Kirk Cousins got the win in that game.
I don't think so. I think Russell Wilson won at the end.
In the end? Well, these games have been really competitive the last few games. So Seattle's favored by 1.5. And I feel like it's a pretty even rivalry. But how do you feel about that, coming off that disappointing choke job last week?
Both teams are coming off of pretty devastating at-the-buzzer losses. Seattle losing in overtime and Minnesota losing at the gun wide right. These are two teams that you probably consider kind of even in terms of like their overall talent, in terms of their overall team. But that coaching, I definitely think is very similar in the way that coaches like to try to operate out there as well. But I think the difference in these two teams are the quarterbacks. And it's no disrespect to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, he was on my top 10 list entering the season. He wasn't fantastic against Cincinnati in week 1. He was very good against Arizona in week 2. And Seahawks have a questionable defense, especially how they looked against Derrick Henry. If Dalvin Cook can create some headway, that'll open up the play action game. Adam Thielen's an end zone monster. We know what Justin Jefferson is. They got KJ Osborne also showing up as well. And Minnesota's always tough at home. So I expect a really, really good football game. It's also the highest over-under of weekend as well at 55.5.
Tied with another game.
So yeah, tied with another game as well. So this one would be interesting between two good, not contending, I think, NFC football teams.
Playoff teams on their best day. Championship teams, not so much.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take who are you gonna take?
I'll take Minnesota at home +1.5. Minnesota as the home underdog +1.5. I think coming off of a really, really rough loss on the road, they played their first 2 games on the road, so this will be their first home game for them. I think in front of those home fans, the first time Minnesota's going to have fans at home in a while. They'll be loud. They'll be rocking over there. Seattle coming off of a mental health check type of loss to Derrick Henry, exposed to weaknesses that I think Dalvin Cook will be able to exploit as well. Minnesota's going to be desperate for their first win, so I'll take Minnesota at home. +1.5, and I'll take the under. I think that's just a little bit too high on the over-under.
I feel sorry for my man Mike Zimmer because I just don't think this year is going to break his way. They might have a strong second half of the season, but I just don't think Seattle will make the mistakes that Russell Wilson won't make the mistakes that Kyler Murray made last week to keep Minnesota in the game. But
Minnesota was up early.
Yeah, and Russell will throw bad interceptions, so I'm no shade at Kyler or anything like that. But I just think Russell, coming off a loss, will be on his game. And I'll take Seattle to win the shootout. I'll take Seattle to win 35-31. So I'll take the over. I'll take Seattle to win 35-31. Tough game. Minnesota will be up. We'll be up late, and we'll see Dangerous do what he does best in the fourth quarter, lead a game-winning drive. Great game, but someone has to lose, unfortunately. Minnesota goes 0-3.
Yeah, this is now my lock of the week. Seattle -1.5. My thought process behind that is the better quarterback with the smallest spread, and I think Russell to Kurt is the biggest gap with the smallest spread, and coming off a loss, Russell Wilson 804. I don't think they lose this game at all, even on the road. And with that small spread, it makes me feel even more confident, knowing that late game heroics, I don't need multiple possessions. So lock of the week, Seattle Seahawks -1.5, and I'll take the under.
All right, and now moving on to the coup de grace, the game of the day on Sunday.
America's game of the week.
We've got Tom Brady and his Tampa Bay. How would Skip say it? Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. taking his Tampa Bay Buccaneers to SoFi.
LA, baby.
That beautiful stadium that's getting worked out now. Versus Matthew Stafford and his Rams. Both teams undefeated, 2-0. Both good victories against playoff caliber teams.
What playoff team did have the Bucs beaten?
You're actually correct about that. So yeah, the Rams have beaten some good teams. The Bucs have the Bucs have the easiest schedule in the NFL coming off the Super Bowl. That's how lucky Tom Brady is. But this is my lock of the week. I've got to grow with my MVP train and my guy leading the way, Matthew Stafford. I'm sorry, Tom, but I think Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey give hell to that offense. And Rams take round 2 because they won last year too. And I've got the Rams covering. I'm going to take the under because I don't think this is going to be a shootout. I'll take the Rams to win a close game, 25-20.
This is also my lock of the week, but the other way around. I think Tampa Bay, Tom Brady is rolling to LA, is rolling to SoFi with some answers for the LA Rams defense. I'm going to take this going off of Eric's previous logic, the biggest quarterback difference with the smallest spread, Tampa Bay
You're
-1.
Right, Matthew Stafford's on a whole other dimension.
Go stop disrespecting Tom Brady. He's about to go win him another MVP because y'all keep disrespecting him. Leave him alone, and maybe he'll go away. Leave him alone. Stop it.
He already said he's playing so 50.
He said he thinks he can. He doesn't have to. If we could just usher him away, stop making him have to prove things. Overall, though, this is the matchup. This is jaw dropping. This is juicy. This is going to be so much fun to watch. I'm glad that they didn't put this on the same time as Herbert and Mahomes as well. We appreciate the NFL for that.
Two championship game previews.
I expect a playoff atmosphere. I think these are teams that are expected to be meeting up in January. I think we're going to get a preview of that on Sunday. I think this will be low scoring, high intense. Both coaches will be looking for a statement. And in a close game between two good teams in a big game, how do you bet against Tom Brady? Like, we know what Matthew Stafford's record is, what he's going up against. Super Bowl 46. You want to talk about things that happened 15 years ago? Like, we're talking about how I feel about these teams.
2020 AFC wildcard game.
Name me all those big Matthew Stafford wins, I'll wait.
It starts Sunday when he beats Tom Brady at home in SoFi.
But for me, I think the Bucs are going to walk in here, and I think the Bucs are going to make a statement that they are the class of the NFC with a tough road victory at LA at SoFi. I'll take the Bucs minus 1.5, and I'll take the under.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucs too. Minus 1.5. I can't go against.
Let's just forget. Don't forget, AB went into the COVID list today.
AB, and I'm picking. It doesn't change my pick, but that is a tough loss for the Bucs.
I can't. With that being said, I can't pick against Tom Brady in a big game. I
wouldn't bet my money on it. I wouldn't bet my money against Tom Brady.
Super Bowl 42, Super Bowl 46.
Matthew Stafford's not even Eli Manning.
Matthew will take his rightful spot as the MVP frontrunner when he gets this W. But that's it for that. Enjoy those games too. Like we said, with Mahomes versus Herbert and this LA versus Tampa Bay game, 2 possible championship game previews.
I also have the over.
Oh, okay. You're expecting a crazy game. All right, moving on to Sunday night, we got Green Bay Packers and the hometown boy Aaron Rodgers headed back home to the place he loves, the place he grew up, the team that he grew up watching.
The team that passed on him with the first pick in the 2005 NFL draft.
For Alex Smith. The San Francisco 49ers, a team that he doesn't beat very often.
Another underrated match. Like, this is probably the most underrated matchup of the weekend. The NFL really.
You saw Jimmy Garoppolo last week.
I mean, yeah, I guess I can understand that, but I told you playing at Philly is always hard. I expect a much easier time for Jimmy Garoppolo this week, but this is the NFL did us quite the favor with with these back-to-back nationally televised, incredibly fun matchups. I think this matchup will be no different. Aaron Rodgers against that San Francisco defense. That's been his nemesis for his entire story arc. From the beginning of his career to now late in his career, if anybody has prevented Aaron Rodgers from winning multiple Super Bowls, it is the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco, they seem to be back and on a roll again. Their defense looks really, really good. Jimmy Garoppolo is Jimmy Garoppolo at this point. They win when he plays, and he's playing on Sunday. That's all you need to know for San Francisco. What is it? They're at San Francisco 49.5 point over under. Rodgers road dog. I'll take the Packers plus 3.5. I think this will be another one of those really, really close games that comes down to the stretch. And when games come down to the final moments, Rodgers is always somebody who could be trusted to come through. The Niners are dealing with a ton of injuries as usual in their secondary. I think that's going to give Rodgers the platform that he has rarely had to be able to attack the San Francisco secondary. The Bakhtiari being gone hurts definitely. That's going to open up the San Francisco pass rush, but it's not as good as the last time we saw him in the 2019 NFC Championship game. I expect Aaron Rodgers to put on a strong performance in San Francisco. I'll take Green Bay plus 3.5, and I'll take the over. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair.
Like you guys were using the terminology for your locks of the week, this one is underdog, better quarterback, and he's got the points. I can't believe you thought about it that long. Even if San Francisco wins just by 3.
Well, I picked San Fran to be the 2 seed. I'm high on San Francisco.
Even if San Francisco wins just by 3, Green Bay will still cover. So
yeah,
it's easy. Green Bay's going to cover this game. My bold prediction is this is the game that Jimmy Garoppolo gets pulled for Trey Lance, and he makes his way in after they see Justin Fields earlier from the day, and after we see some more bad Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think this is the game that Trey Lance gets to finally take the reins over from Jimmy. But I think the Green Bay Packers will win. I can see the San Francisco 49ers winning by a field goal. If they do win, that's probably the only way they could win, in my opinion. But I think the Green Bay Packers will win. So I got them covering. And I will take the under because I think both defenses will come to play knowing how well that the other offenses are schemed up on the other side. Also, Kyle Shanahan's stuff is being ran by Matt, is it Matt or Mike?
I think it's Matt.
It's the LaFleur butter in Green Bay. And they know each other's stuff, so their defensive coordinators will have a game practice against it a lot. So I'm pretty sure everybody will have a nice game plan. So I'll take Green Bay to cover, and I'll take the under.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, and you get points. What's better than that? So I'll take the Packers as well, +3, and I'll take the under 55 or no 50.5.
Okay. Ours was 50, but yeah, under.
Yeah.
You actually went over.
Oh, you said what?
You actually went over.
I went over it. I'm saying he's saying under.
All right, and lastly, on to the Monday Night Football game. Of course, we got NFC East football. Would it be a week of football if the NFC East wasn't on prime time?
We carry the NFC to put on TV, bro. We carry these ratings. We carry the NFL know what to do. They want people eyes on the product. Put us on the television.
Or the Manning brothers.
That helps too. That's gonna be the most watched Manning brothers thing ever.
It's the third one. Yeah. And the first one.
And I don't think another one will pass it. That's what I'm trying to explain. I think it'll be the most watched one they'll have this season.
They're gonna call it Tampa Bay Giants game, so that would be interesting. Who you got?
I mean, I'll still ahead and start first, just as the resident Homer, the resident Cowboys fan. Feeling good coming off a win over the LA Chargers on the road. I think the Cowboys, Monday Night Football at home, we got the quarter. They got Dak Prescott light. So I'm not going to pick Dak Prescott light against Dak Prescott real. I'll take the Cowboys -3.5. And I'll take the over. Philadelphia's defense is still a question mark. The Cowboys offense has shown that it can beat you in all different types of ways. I think they'll be able to move the ball soundly on the Philadelphia defense, especially with the Brandon Graham injury. That is a gigantic injury for their team. That's going to hurt their edge pass rush. If Dak has time in the pocket to be able to find his receivers down the field, I really don't know how Philly slows that down. But on Philly's end as well, Jalen Hurts has looked –
he was terrible last week.
He looked fine. I think he's looked fine. San Francisco's a tough defense. Philadelphia is a tough place to move the ball on offense. But overall, I think the Philadelphia Eagles will have a little bit more success moving the ball against the Cowboys defense. They're still dealing with a bunch of injury issues. But I just think in a game that they'll have to score a lot of points, they won't be able to keep up with Jalen Hurts, who looks like a guy who could be the guy, but has a long way to go. So once again, I'll take the Cowboys -3.5, and I'll take the over.
It's my secondary lock of the week. So the Cowboys better not let me down this week. I don't know how this is going to be competitive because the Philadelphia defense just lost Brandon Graham last week, and they have not. Their secondary is pretty miles away. Have it your way. Unfortunately, the Cowboys are also bad on defense, but I don't think Philadelphia has a receiver that will challenge that really. And we'll see how they get pass rush this week because I will say Jalen Hurts will probably be harder to sack than a stationary Justin Herbert.
Stationary.
He was for the most part.
Nothing stationary.
Part, he was
about
stationary.
what Herbert was doing on Sunday, man.
When he was getting sacked, when he was getting pressured, he was stationary. I thought he should have ran some more, maybe. But I think Jalen Hurts will run more when the pressure gets there. True. So you'll have to get him down by running him down, which he'll probably run into some bad sacks too. So I'll take Dallas to win 27-10, really. I don't really know. 27-10, really. I'm pretty sure that the Dallas should win this game easily. At Philly coming off those bad injuries that they suffered, so they're kind of the wounded duck. But they might use the long week to recover. But I think Dallas wins easily, and I'll take the under because I don't think Philadelphia will score that much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with y'all. I think the Cowboys should win fairly handily against the Eagles with their injuries. I think Graham's a big injury for their defense. I'll take the over as well. No. I'll take the under.
Which I took the under. I took the under. Yeah. Moody took the over.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles will score enough. Hopefully the Cowboys defense can step it up or keep way they're going. They play like the way they played against the Chargers. They'll keep the Eagles at bay enough to hit the under.
I think you can expect a lot more of a passing attack from the Cowboys this week. You know, Philly always keep their trenches built, even with Brandon Graham gone. With their secondary being the weaker point of their team, you could probably expect to see Cooper and CeeDee Lamb making plays out there.
All right. And bold takes for anything we'll see this weekend?
Will we see the end of? Is this going to really start showing the end of Ben Roethlisberger? I think that's a big. I think that's a big one to see right there, because Pittsburgh being home favorites, like, we know their defense is good. TJ Watt's questionable, but man, that was a rough loss last week. A home division game against a Cincinnati team that they are more talented than they're a better football team, man. If Ben Roethlisberger shows that it's too much of a weak link that they can't even beat Cincinnati, I think that spells a big problems in Pittsburgh.
That's me and Eric were saying that in the NFC North preview. I got two because I just like these quarterbacks, but I want to see how Buffalo does against the Washington football team defensive line, because I will say that defense has underachieved this year, and this is not a good matchup to underachievement, or things could go wrong in Washington. And then finally, Mahomes versus Herbert. We're just waiting to see how close Herbert is, really, and if he's ready to make that second-year jump to take his team where he needs to. How about you, Eric? Take us home.
Yeah,
how you feel?
I was going to say Herbert. I mean, this is a big game to see if he can be on the line that Isaiah is saying he's on. But my biggest thing is the Bucks Rams. I mean, whoever wins this game is going to be the favorite to come out of the NFC. And it also is a test game for Matthew Stafford to see if this trade was worth it, because this is a postseason game. Like, both teams should be looking at this as we can definitely see this team in the playoffs. So
tiebreakers.
Definitely a playoff.
Definitely. If the Rams are as good as people claim they have to be, this could have one seed implications. Absolutely. So yeah, this is a very much an important game where I expect both teams to have playoff intensity.
Yeah. All right, boys. We'll see you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share with your buddies, all that good stuff. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy another week of football, baby.